Consistency is more powerful than motivation because motivation is emotional, temporary, and often unreliable, while consistency is steady, grounded, and capable of reshaping a person's entire identity and future. The single habit that truly transforms a person's life is the habit of being consistent, even when motivation fades, inspiration disappears, and emotions fluctuate. Most people wait to feel ready before they act. They wait for motivation, energy, excitement, or the perfect moment. They say things like, "I'll start when I feel more confident," or "I'll begin when life becomes easier," or "I'll do it when I'm in the right mindset." But success rarely comes from emotional bursts. It comes from showing up daily, especially on the days you don't want to. The people who achieve meaningful change are not the ones who are constantly inspired. They are the ones who take action despite not feeling inspired at all. Consistency rewires the brain to form strong routines and habits. At first, it feels uncomfortable and effortful. You have to push yourself to wake up early, to study when you'd rather relax, to exercise when your body feels heavy, or to practice discipline when distraction feels easier. In the beginning, everything feels like a conscious decision that requires energy and internal negotiation. But what begins as effort gradually becomes identity. Over time, you no longer try to be disciplined. You simply become the kind of person who follows through. You stop arguing with yourself, you stop negotiating with excuses, and you stop waiting for motivation to push you. Instead, you operate from a deeper internal commitment. You begin to trust yourself, and that trust becomes one of the most powerful forms of confidence a person can ever develop. Every consistent action sends a signal to your mind about who you are. When you tell yourself you will do something and you actually do it, your brain records that as evidence that you are reliable, capable, and trustworthy to yourself. This inner trust is very different from confidence that comes from praise, validation, or recognition from others. External confidence can rise and fall depending on circumstances, but self-trust grows from repeated experiences of keeping your own promises. When you consistently act in alignment with your goals, your self-image changes. You stop seeing yourself as someone who procrastinates or quits halfway. Instead, you begin to identify as someone who follows through, and that identity quietly shapes every decision you make afterward. This habit of consistency creates momentum, and momentum is one of the most underestimated forces in personal growth. A small repeated action, reading for 20 minutes, exercising for 15, reflecting daily, practicing gratitude, or working on a goal each day, compounds the same way small deposits grow into wealth. No single day looks extraordinary. In fact, many days feel ordinary, repetitive, or even boring, but the transformation happens quietly, not overnight, through thousands of small, repeated choices. Just as a tree does not grow because of one sunny day, but because of many seasons of sunlight and rainfall, your character and abilities grow because of repeated effort over time. Consistency also reshapes how you perceive progress. When people rely on motivation, they expect quick results. They want dramatic changes, visible achievements, and emotional highs. When results don't appear immediately, they feel disappointed, discouraged, or convinced that change isn't working. But consistency shifts your focus from instant gratification to long-term growth. Instead of asking, "What did I gain today?" you begin to ask, "Who am I becoming because of what I did today?" Progress becomes less about outcomes and more about process, less about visible results and more about silent internal growth. That change in perspective allows you to keep going even when progress feels slow or invisible. Another powerful aspect of consistency is its ability to reduce procrastination. Procrastination thrives on uncertainty, emotional resistance, and overthinking. When tasks feel optional or negotiable, the mind creates endless excuses to delay them. But once something becomes a consistent habit, it transitions from optional to automatic. Just as you don't debate whether or not to brush your teeth each day, consistent habits reduce decision-making friction. You no longer waste energy arguing with yourself. You simply do the task because it is part of your routine. This reduces mental stress, saves emotional energy, and frees your mind to focus on deeper thinking and creativity rather than constant self-negotiation. Consistency also teaches discipline in an honest and practical way. Discipline is not about perfection or rigid control. It is about learning how to act according to your values and goals rather than your moods or impulses. When you practice consistency, you gradually develop emotional resilience. You learn to work through discomfort rather than avoid it, to stay focused despite distractions, and to honor your commitments even when circumstances are not ideal. This resilience becomes especially valuable during difficult seasons of life. Motivation often disappears in times of stress, fatigue, or disappointment, but consistency allows you to continue moving forward, even if slowly, instead of collapsing into inactivity. Small daily habits can change how you think, how you behave, and how you approach life. Reading a few pages every day expands your knowledge and perspective over time. Reflecting each day increases emotional awareness and clarity. Practicing gratitude shifts your attention away from lack and toward appreciation. Working on a skill daily sharpens your ability far more effectively than occasional bursts of intense effort. None of these actions feel dramatic in the moment, but they accumulate quietly beneath the surface. One day you look back and realize how far you have come, not because of one major breakthrough, but because of years of steady growth. Another important truth about consistency is that it removes the illusion that success is based on talent alone. Many people believe that successful individuals are gifted with extraordinary intelligence, luck, or opportunity. While talent can provide a head start, consistency determines who finishes strong. The world is full of talented individuals who never realized their potential because they depended on inspiration instead of discipline. On the other hand, countless successful people were not the most gifted. They simply refused to stop showing up. They practiced longer, learned continuously, experimented repeatedly, and kept working when others quit. Consistency turns ordinary people into extraordinary performers because effort repeated over time becomes skill, and skill repeated over time becomes mastery. Consistency also builds a deep sense of emotional stability. When your actions are predictable and grounded in routine, your life feels more stable and balanced. You are less reactive to external circumstances because your internal habits guide you. Even during stressful or uncertain periods, your daily structure gives you something solid to hold on to. It becomes a form of anchor, a reminder that progress is possible even in small steps, that growth can continue even in difficult times, and that you still have control over your choices even when you don't have control over everything around you. In many ways, consistency is an act of self-respect. When you commit to daily habits that improve your life, you are telling yourself that your future matters, that your dreams matter, and that your well-being matters. You are investing in your mind, your body, your character, and your purpose. You are saying through your actions, I deserve to grow, and I am willing to work for it. That kind of self-respect becomes visible not only to you, but to others as well. People begin to trust you more, rely on you more, and value your presence because consistency also reflects integrity and reliability. There will always be days when you feel tired, unmotivated, or discouraged. There will be seasons where progress feels slow and results seem distant, but consistency does not demand perfection. It only requires persistence. Missing a day does not destroy progress, quitting does. Consistency allows room for mistakes, setbacks, and pauses, but it does not allow surrender. It teaches you to return, to restart, and to continue. Over time, the habit of coming back becomes just as powerful as the habit of showing up. The most beautiful thing about consistency is that it eventually transforms your identity. At first, you build habits, but later, your habits build you. What begins as a repeated action becomes a natural part of your character. You no longer force yourself to grow. You simply live in alignment with the person you have become. And that transformation is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet, steady, and deeply powerful. Your confidence grows, your vision becomes clearer, your self-respect strengthens, and your future begins to align with your daily choices. Consistency is more powerful than motivation because motivation may start the journey, but consistency completes it. Motivation is a spark, but consistency is the engine. Motivation opens the door, but consistency walks through it every single day. And when you learn to show up not only when you feel inspired, but especially when you don't, that is the moment your life truly begins to transform. Small daily habits shape your identity and future because the real transformation in life happens when you finally understand that your habits don't just influence your outcomes, they gradually shape who you are becoming at your deepest level. Every daily habit is like casting a vote for the person you wish to become. Each time you choose learning over distraction, health over neglect, discipline over comfort, gratitude over negativity, focus over chaos, or self-control over impulse, you are not simply performing an action. You are training your mind, your character, and your identity to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Over time, your habits begin to define how you think, how you respond to challenges, how you manage opportunities, and how you see yourself in the world. Small habits may look insignificant in the moment because they rarely create immediate results. Reading a few pages of a book each day doesn't suddenly make you knowledgeable. Exercising for a short time doesn't instantly transform your body. Practicing gratitude or reflection doesn't immediately rewrite your emotional world. But beneath the surface, these small habits quietly shape your mindset, your emotional stability, your discipline, your opportunities, your relationships, and your entire direction in life. The mind adapts to whatever it repeatedly experiences. If you repeatedly feed distraction, laziness, negativity, or inconsistency, your identity bends in that direction. But if you consistently feed growth, awareness, discipline, patience, and purpose, your identity slowly strengthens and expands in alignment with those qualities. The habit of reflection improves self-awareness because it forces you to pause and examine your thoughts, behaviors, and decisions rather than drifting through life on autopilot. When you reflect daily, whether through journaling, thinking quietly, or observing your actions, you begin to understand your triggers, your strengths, your weaknesses, and your emotional patterns. This awareness gives you more control over your reactions instead of letting impulses control you. It also helps you recognize repeated mistakes so that you can break unhealthy cycles rather than repeating them unconsciously. Self-awareness is often the first doorway to transformation because you cannot change what you are unwilling to examine. The habit of gratitude improves emotional stability because it trains your mind to notice what is present rather than obsessing over what is missing. Without gratitude, the mind easily becomes restless, unsatisfied, and constantly searching for the next achievement, possession, or validation to feel fulfilled. But when gratitude becomes a daily habit, it softens comparison, reduces stress, and nurtures emotional balance. It reminds you that meaning does not only come from future success, but also from the small blessings already present in your life. Relationships, experiences, growth, health, opportunities, and lessons learned through struggle. Over time, gratitude reshapes your emotional lens, helping you approach life with more peace, resilience, and contentment. The habit of planning improves productivity because it transforms your day from reactive to intentional. When you begin each day with clarity, knowing your priorities, your goals, and your responsibilities, you position yourself to use time purposefully rather than letting distractions consume your energy. Planning doesn't eliminate obstacles, but it reduces confusion and procrastination. It helps you separate what is truly important from what is merely urgent or noisy. With consistent planning, you develop the discipline to work steadily rather than chaotically, and this habit compounds into greater achievement, confidence, and direction over time. The habit of self-discipline strengthens long-term vision because it teaches you to sacrifice temporary comfort for lasting growth. Discipline is not about denying yourself joy. It is about aligning your choices with the future you want to create. When discipline becomes a daily habit, you learn to delay gratification, resist destructive impulses, and stay committed to your goals even when progress feels slow. You begin to understand that every shortcut has a cost, and every meaningful achievement requires patience, effort, and perseverance. Discipline gives you the ability to continue moving forward when motivation disappears, and that ability becomes one of the greatest predictors of long-term success and fulfillment. Bit by bit, these habits transform your thinking, and when thinking changes, life changes. Your habits shape your beliefs about what is possible. They influence how you talk to yourself, how you treat others, how you handle adversity, and how much responsibility you take for your life. A person who practices daily learning gradually becomes curious, knowledgeable, and open-minded. A person who practices daily effort becomes resilient and persistent. A person who practices daily consistency becomes reliable and confident. These qualities are not accidental. They are the natural outcome of repeated choices. The truth is, your future is not created in one big achievement or one dramatic turning point. It is created in the quiet, unseen decisions you make every single day, when no one is watching, when no one is praising you, and when progress feels invisible. Your success, your character, your relationships, your confidence, and your opportunities are shaped not by occasional bursts of effort, but by the habits you nurture repeatedly over time. The life you will live tomorrow is being built by the habits you practice today, often in moments that feel ordinary or insignificant. Many people believe their lives will change only when they receive a big opportunity, achieve a major goal, or experience a turning point moment. But the reality is that big opportunities are often unlocked by small habits practiced consistently. Employers trust disciplined people. Friends value reliable people. Opportunities flow toward those who develop competence, integrity, and emotional maturity. These qualities are not created overnight. They grow through years of small actions, quiet effort, and intentional habits. The habit you nurture today becomes the story you live tomorrow. If you nurture the habit of complaining, you grow into a person who sees obstacles everywhere. If you nurture the habit of gratitude, you grow into a person who finds peace even in difficulty. If you nurture distraction, your mind becomes scattered and unfocused. If you nurture learning and reflection, your mind becomes sharp and wise. Over time, habits do not just influence what you do, they reshape how you see yourself, and you begin to act in alignment with that self-image. When you deliberately build one positive habit and stay faithful to it, you don't just change your routine, you change your identity. A person who reads daily does not simply perform a task, they begin to see themselves as a learner. A person who exercises regularly does not merely move their body, they begin to identify as someone who values health and discipline. A person who practices self-control begins to see themselves as capable of managing their emotions rather than being controlled by them. Identity grows from habit, and identity reinforces habit, creating a powerful cycle of growth. This is why small habits are not small at all. They are the foundation on which character is built. They determine whether you drift through life reacting to circumstances or build a life intentionally through conscious choices. They determine whether your future is shaped by impulse or by purpose. They influence the quality of your relationships, the strength of your confidence, and the depth of your success. When you commit to even one meaningful habit and remain steady in it, you begin to change the way you think, behave, and exist in the world. Ultimately, your habits become the invisible architects of your destiny. They guide your actions when motivation fades. They shape your responses when life becomes difficult. They influence your opportunities when new paths appear. And as time passes, the identity created through your habits becomes stronger than any temporary challenge or setback. When you choose your habits wisely and honor them consistently, you are not just building routines, you are building the future version of yourself, one decision at a time, one day at a time, and one small but powerful habit at a time.